Welcome, I'm Reverend Jayne Coley, and today's talk is about how to cultivate faith. And I go on to say, treat and move your feet. And anyone who knows me knows that I love real estate, transforming properties. And I want to start with this story. But first, I'm going to say this quote from Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind. It is not the form of treatment which you give or the prayer which you make that gives it power. Rather, it is your faith. So for myself, with my faith, with properties, with transforming them, there's some vision that happens when I see an end product of what a property can look like that awakens this passion within me, this faith that I can transform it. There's a story about a contractor. This project manager was he got the contract on remodeling this cathedral. And supposedly it's this magnificent cathedral. And a gentleman shows up who is an apprentice. And he is asking this contractor, that is the project manager, could I have just one small window that you would give me of this entire project where you would allow me to be responsible? Well, the project manager doesn't want to be frivolous with the resources of the actual owners of the cathedral for representation for the church. And so he says, well, you can do it, but we are not going to give you the material. You will have to get your own material and pay for the project yourself. This resourceful apprentice actually takes all the little shards of glass to create this stained glass piece, this little window within this cathedral. And he takes all this discarded shards from the other stained glass windows. And he creates this magnificent masterpiece, this little window in the entire cathedral. And when it comes the day to do the grand opening of the cathedral, the story says that everyone who came to see the cathedral stops in front of this small window and just adorns the apprentice for the workmanship that is in this small window over the entire project. And so I say to each one here, each one listening, is that each of us can put in good use of our own little bits of time, our small portion of talent, our ambitious energy, and create lives that weave together to form this life of beauty, a life of goodness and rare value with just small portions of input. And that spiritual mind treatment is the perfect recipe to make that happen. And when I speak of spiritual mind treatment, what we often mean that this is also referred to as affirmative prayer. Regardless of which term you use to describe it, its core purpose is to do one thing and one thing only. And that is to cultivate faith within ourselves, that yes, we see this vision, just like I do when I see a house and I know I can transform it. So to paraphrase Ernest Holmes, there is nothing new, but rather a new approach to an old truth, a system of consciously arriving at faith. So in the Science of Mind teachings, we believe that there is this creative force, a creative experience of our life that comes forth as a result of our beliefs. In other words, our very lives are as this outpicturing of our thoughts and beliefs. And we actively or passively place our faith and beliefs that we hold in our thoughts and beliefs. So we are either doing it passively or actively. So treatment or affirmative prayer is the specific tool that we utilize to direct our faith by moving us away from things we do not want in our lives, things that no longer serve us in our lives, to having faith. And we use affirmative prayer for this. We direct our faith by using an affirmative prayer, a treatment, spiritual mind treatment. So what we're doing in this is we're also directing our attention, our focus toward this divine power that's found within us. So spiritual mind treatment, it may not be the only way to cultivate truth or to change our mind, but it is a tool which has been developed in our teachings to change our thoughts, to change our life, and it has proven results, that it produces these results to change the conditions in our lives. So the step one of a spiritual, there's 5 steps. So the first 2 steps of the spiritual mind treatment, it's all about we're in receptive mode. We're using our conscious understanding, a deep inner feeling that we're opening ourselves to receiving the spiritual presence that's already within us and around us. It is who we are. And God is in everyone here, each and every one of us. And that God essence, that there is this divine law that's working in our favor. So step 1 is referred to as the recognition stage, and it's spoken in the connection to the divine. So God is all there is. That would be a statement. And stage 2 is the unification, where we see ourselves, I am one with God. So first step is there is God, I am one with God. Stage 3 is the realization stage, where I'm filled, I'm claiming this truth. And again, I might be doing it for somebody else. So I would say, I know this for Reverend Linda. I know this for Reverend Cliff. I know this for Marianne. I know this for Lisa. So we claim the truth for someone as a result of our inner trust and knowing. Stage 4 is the thanksgiving. I give thanks. Stage 5, I release. I release this into this law that's already acting, working of cause and effect. I release it, let it go, and so it is. It is already done. Those are the 5 steps of a spiritual mind treatment. In the spiritual mind treatment, it is the person speaking that is the conduit of their highest expression. So when we're speaking, it is speaking from this highest expression of ourselves. So when we say, and so it is, we're already seeing it as knowing it, believing it, embodying it. It is so. I was thinking about how a photographer back in the day, how they would, pictures that they would know when a picture was not exposed. So they would do all precautions to not expose a picture so that it would fully develop. Or I thought about the chemist, and the chemist can ruin an entire experiment. And it's the same way of thinking, where one substance can ruin it, one little part of the experiment. When we think about our thoughts, it's the same thing, that we're either seeing for the highest and the best, or for the exact opposite of that. So what treatment is not, is a spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, is not begging for a result. It's not praying outside of ourselves to a judgmental God. Spiritual mind treatment is a tool that assists us in focusing our conscious mind, dropping us into this place of faith, of inner knowing. And with this tool, we can accept, choose, and create from one moment to the next moment. So our prayer, our treatment isn't what it is to inspire us to embody this desire itself. So we're actually living it, breathing it, feeling it as we're speaking it. And the more we can feel it and believe it in our conviction, the more powerful the prayer is, because it has that energy, that vitality with it, that faith. And it's not about doing it right, but rather cultivating our faith. So it's not that we can do it wrong. So we're working with this law. We're not dictating to this law. We're not micromanaging the divine spirit. It all boils down to this embodiment of our desire. Thus, the more our decision, our actions are made from this place of faith, of strength, that God, the universe, that we're letting the universe has got this. It does the rest. We hand it over. We surrender it to this higher aspect that it's taken care of. And this is where the greater opportunities that open us to what is the highest plan. I've always found out it always turns out better when I let it go. So the result of our prayer is a new approach to living that embodies the new thought. And we must feel this truth of who we are deep within us, and let that aspect of us guide us from that place of faith. So what we're doing is we're therefore committing to our faith in this. For me, I see it as this pure power. And this is from this place of inner knowing. And then it demonstrates this in our lives. We're living it, we're embodying it. And the law responds to this with this conviction, and it transforms this world that is around us, our conditions in our world. It's a process of becoming. So in closing, I want to close with prayer is a tool, and it takes practice, practice, practice. And the more we embody this, the more faith we have, and often less words and increased feelings with this sense of knowing is the best way to do a spiritual mind treatment. So I invite you to just sit back and accept and allow this prayer to deeply resonate in your soul. God is the power and the presence that resides in each and every person. I am one with this presence, this power, and I speak my word for each and every one here. That this power, this presence that I claim that each one here is strengthened and embodies the power found within them. That the presence of God found within, and that each person is strengthened in their faith. I give thanks for this, and I release this into the law, knowing it is already done, it is already so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you. God bless.